World War II forced households to improvise with scarce ingredients, turning everyday meals into acts of ingenuity. In this video, we explore 13 strange meals people actually ate, from cabbage soup and potato bread to Britain's Woolton pie and nettle soup. We'll see how people used ersatz coffee from acorns and chicory, tulip bulb soup, and spam, plus creative victory garden combinations. We also cover more surprising fare, from whale meat and ersatz sausages to fried tarantulas, dandelion greens, mock chocolate, and fish head soup, showing resilience in the face of shortage. 1. Woolton pie, Britain's most famous vegetable victory. Imagine having to feed your family without meat, butter, or even proper flour during the darkest days of World War II. Woolton pie became a pastry dish of vegetables widely served in Britain when rationing made other dishes impossible to prepare, created by Francis Latry, the head chef at London's Savoy Hotel. This hearty vegetable pie represented something remarkable for a meat-loving nation acceptance of a completely vegetarian main dish during desperate times. The iconic Woolton pie was made with potatoes, carrots, parsnips, onions, and oats, topped with a crust of oatmeal and water, becoming a symbol of resourcefulness and austerity during the war. The recipe varied based on what vegetables people could find, making it adaptable to different seasons and whatever remained in their victory gardens. 2. Nettle soup, nature's hidden nutritional powerhouse. Nettle soup emerged during World War II as a popular dish in both Britain and Russia, with nettles growing wild and providing vital vitamins and minerals, though their sting posed a challenge until cooking neutralized the prickliness. This simple yet nourishing soup connected people directly to nature when grocery store shelves stood empty. The soup was often enriched with potatoes or leeks to enhance its heartiness, serving as more than just sustenance by celebrating the bounty of the natural world amid war's chaos. Families would venture into fields and gardens with gloves and baskets, gathering these common weeds that most people had previously ignored. The irony wasn't lost on many. What they'd once considered garden pests became their salvation during wartime scarcity. 3. Ersatz coffee, made from acorns and chicory. During World War II in Europe, coffee became a rare luxury, pushing households to create inventive substitutes like acorn coffee, where abundant acorns were carefully roasted and ground to mimic a coffee-like brew that provided normalcy amid turmoil. The process required patience. Acorns had to be shelled, dried, roasted until dark brown, then ground into a powder that could be steeped like real coffee. In wartime Germany, people drank ersatz coffee, widely known as muckfuck, made from roasted chicory roots, malt, barley, rye, acorn, and many other available ingredients. By 1941, recipes for surrogate coffee, consisting of 12% coffee beans supplemented with 52% barley or rye, 20% chicory, 8% green peas, and 8% tulip bulbs were circulating. These creative blends showed how desperate people became for their morning ritual, even if the taste bore little resemblance to actual coffee. 4. Tulip bulb soup, the Dutch survival story. By 1944, in Nazi-occupied Netherlands during the Hunger Winter, there was only one thing left to eat: tulip bulb soup, with fathers eating almost nothing but tulip bulbs. The Netherlands, ironically famous for its beautiful tulip fields, found these ornamental bulbs becoming a matter of life and death. Tulip bulbs and sugar beets were promoted by food agencies in the winter of 1944-45 as substitutes for potatoes, with the possibility of making tulip bulb flour. In the Hunger Winter, flower bulbs became important ingredients in many meals, along with potato and cabbage being almost the only food left in cities, with bulbs boiled, baked, fried, roasted and processed into soup, stew, and cookies. Tulip bulbs were grated into soup and boiled into stampot, a hearty mashed potato dish, and by winter's end locals were boiling bulbs into syrup and grinding them into flour for bread and savory cookies. 5. Potato bread, when wheat became scarce. Ersatzbrot, substitute bread, made of potato starch, frequently stretched with extenders such as sawdust, was furnished to soldiers and prisoners of war, with one recipe containing 50% bruised rye grain, 20% sliced sugar beets, 20% tree flour, sawdust, and 10% minced leaves and straw. This wasn't just wartime creativity, it was survival baking when traditional wheat flour became nearly impossible to obtain. Kriegsbrot, war bread, used rye, potato meal, sugar and an ever-decreasing amount of wheat which was replaced by sawdust. The texture was dense and heavy, nothing like the light, fluffy bread people remembered from peacetime. Yet families learned to appreciate even these humble loaves, knowing they provided essential carbohydrates when calories were desperately needed. 6. Spam. America's canned meat solution. Spam became an iconic World War II food, especially in America, due to its convenience and practicality, with this canned meat product made from pork and ham engineered for easy storage and distribution. While fresh meat disappeared from store shelves due to rationing, Spam offered a reliable protein source that didn't require refrigeration. Macaroni and cheese became a nationwide sensation because it was cheap, filling, and required very few ration points, with Kraft selling some 50 million boxes during the war. Families found countless ways to stretch their Spam rations, frying thin slices for breakfast, dicing it into casseroles, or grinding it into sandwich spreads. The salty, processed taste became synonymous with wartime meals, and many veterans couldn't stomach it for years after the war ended. 7. Victory garden vegetables in creative combinations. The USDA encouraged people throughout World War II to grow their produce in family and community gardens known as victory gardens, with people urged to plant gardens in rural and urban settings to offset food rations and add vitamins to their diet. Historians estimate that by 1943 up to 20 million victory gardens were cultivated, helping sustain the needs of the country. These gardens became outdoor laboratories where families experimented with unfamiliar vegetables and creative combinations. Root vegetables like turnips, parsnips, and rutabagas, previously considered livestock feed, found their way into family dinner tables. People learned to appreciate the earthy sweetness of beets, the peppery bite of radish greens, and the surprising versatility of cabbage in everything from soups to slaws. 8. Whale meat. Britain's unpopular protein. Whale meat was off ration in Britain, available for people to buy without ration books, but it was not popular with the British public as they thought it had an unpleasant smell and tasted bland even when spices were added to it. Despite being protein-rich and readily available, whale meat represented one of the war's least successful food initiatives. Butchers tried everything to make whale meat appealing, soaking it in milk to reduce the fishy smell, heavily seasoning it with herbs, even disguising it in stews and pies. But British palates, accustomed to beef and lamb, simply couldn't adapt to this marine alternative. The meat's dark color, strong odor, and chewy texture made it a hard sell even during desperate times. 9. Ersatz sausages made from scrap. Sausage was made of water, plant fibers, animal scraps and blood, the infamous war sausage, which was equated to a mouthful of sawdust. These makeshift sausages bore little resemblance to the hearty, flavorful meat products people remembered from before the war. Butchers became creative chemists, mixing whatever protein sources they could find with fillers and seasonings. The texture was often grainy and the flavor unpredictable, depending on what scraps were available that week. Yet families learned to fry these ersatz sausages until crispy on the outside, hoping the browning would improve both taste and texture. Children growing up during the war often didn't realize what real sausage tasted like until years later. 10. Fried tarantulas. Southeast Asian protein. In Southeast Asia during World War II, fried tarantulas emerged as an unexpected yet vital source of protein, with these large spiders carefully caught, cleaned, and fried to crispy perfection, transforming fear into a functional meal. When traditional protein sources vanished, people turned to whatever nature provided, even eight-legged creatures that would normally send them running. The preparation process required courage and skill. Hunters would carefully catch the spiders, remove the hair and fangs, then deep fry them until they became crunchy like potato chips. The meat inside reportedly tasted similar to crab or lobster, providing essential nutrients when conventional foods were nowhere to be found. 11. Dandelion and wild green salad. People had forgotten that plants such as nettles, dandelions, purslane, chickweed, wild garlic, and flax had high nutritional value rather than being useless weeds. Suddenly, Lawns and vacant lots became foraging grounds as families rediscovered edible plants their grandparents had known about. Dandelion leaves, bitter but rich in vitamins, appeared in salads and soups. Wild garlic provided sharp flavor when cultivated onions became scarce. Purslane offered a lemony tang and omega-3 fatty acids. Even plantain, the common heel leaf that grew along paths, could be boiled into nutritious greens. These wild plants connected people to ancient food traditions while providing crucial nutrients during wartime shortages. 12. Mock chocolate made from carob and beet sugar. Chocolates and cocoa were replaced by ground cocoa shells mixed with pure pepper. When real chocolate disappeared from stores, creative cooks experimented with alternatives using whatever sweet ingredients they could find. Carob pods, when roasted and ground, provided a chocolate-like flavor without requiring imported cacao beans. Sugar beets became a crucial sweetener when cane sugar vanished from grocery stores. Families would boil beet juice down into syrup, creating a molasses-like sweetener that could transform even the most basic ingredients into something resembling dessert. The results were often disappointing compared to real chocolate, but they satisfied the psychological need for something sweet during bitter times. 13. Fish head soup and bone broth. When meat became nearly impossible to obtain, resourceful cooks learned to extract nutrition from parts previously discarded. Fish heads, normally thrown away, became the base for hearty soups packed with gelatin and minerals. Bones from any available source, chicken, beef, even wild game, were simmered for hours to create nutritious broths. Every peel, bone, or leftover was put to use, with soups and stews becoming common because they made the most of smaller portions. These broths became liquid gold, providing warmth, nutrients, and the psychological comfort of a hot meal. Families would add whatever vegetables they could find, creating unique combinations that varied from day to day based on availability. The long cooking process extracted maximum nutrition from minimal ingredients, proving that resourcefulness could triumph over scarcity. World War II transformed ordinary people into culinary innovators by necessity. These 13 strange meals tell a story that goes far beyond food. They represent human ingenuity, community resilience, and the determination to survive against impossible odds. While we hope never to face such desperate circumstances again, these wartime recipes remind us that creativity and adaptability can turn even the most unlikely ingredients into sustenance. What would you have been willing to eat if your family's survival depended on it?